So we received a testimony during this Blessed Life series from a family at our church that would love to remain anonymous. So I'm going to read the testimony that they sent in. Together, my spouse and I have lived a vastly varying life financially. When we were barely out of high school, we became pregnant. And this led to an earlier than planned wedding and a quick introduction to adult life. I was just starting college with a part-time job, so our first year together, we earned just $18,000. Although we did not start our family off in the purity that God intends, we were always diligent with our finances and tithed to the local church. A few years into college, a service position opened up at my dad's HVAC company, so I finished my last year of school online while working full-time. And during this season, we bought our first home, a cheap, rundown house. We worked hard to fix it up, to sell, in order to buy the home we really wanted with more land. In the spring of 2016, our house sold after being on the market for only one weekend. During all of this, my spouse was diagnosed with a rare form of colon cancer and needed surgery immediately. Our home sale gave us enough money to pay for the treatment and still put a 25% down payment on the home we had our sights on. This property was a blessing. It had the land we wanted for our horses and a modest home to raise our two children. Even though the mortgage was never a strain on our budget, it still drove me nuts. I graduated from college with debt. But during school, and before we bought our first house, I bought Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace book. Reading this book made me realize that if we continued down the track we were on, we would be broke our whole lives, constantly chasing payments. After talking at length, we agreed to follow the principles laid down in this book. No debt of any kind except for the mortgage. I had only $10,000 in student loans when we started following the plan, but that first year, making only $40,000, we were able to pay off the loan completely. We did this by paying close attention to our financing and budgeting religiously. If it wasn't in the budget, we didn't do it. Fast forward to early 2019, we were in our new house with $50,000 left on the mortgage. We had been putting big chunks toward the mortgage, paying it down from $75,000 in 2016, but we had never attacked it with any sort of vengeance. It was eating away at us because it had always been our goal to get out completely from the bondage that debt creates. So we decided that year we were going to attack it completely. I declared out loud that God was going to pay it off before 2020 started. At the time, this seemed impossible. We had hardly made more than $50,000 in the entire previous year, but God came through. By the last week in December, we had the entire mortgage paid off. God increased our finances tremendously that year and has continued to do so. I am a strong believer that when you apply God's principles to your finances and allow Him in by giving Him back His 10%, He will bless you. We have never been without. There have been times that we were tight, but God has always provided for us. We have always had just enough. Through thick and thin, we have never failed to honor Him with His tithe. From large bonus checks to small monetary gifts, we always tithe. I would rather give 90% with God's blessing than 100% without.